A sec. Okay, it's recording now. So awesome. So yeah, let's just first of all, hi again. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's been
Yeah,
a couple of months, is it? When did we last meet? It's been a while, hasn't it?
yeah. It's
Was
been
it
a couple
April?
months. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gone by really fast. Yeah, it's June now. Yeah, June
yeah.
10th is
It's
my sister's birthday
flown.
today. He just reminded me I need to I
Oh
messaged
right.
her earlier in the week, and yeah, 'cause she's a teacher, so it's PD days today. So I
Okay.
have to remember to catch up with her. But yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
while.
for sure. Oh, brilliant. Okay. Well, did you say it was your sister's birthday today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's
happy birthday to your sister for today then.
oh, thank you.
Awesome. So, what's new with you, Pam? What have you been up to? I think from what I can see, you've been quite busy these last few months. So, talk to me. What have you been doing?
Yeah, well, it's been nice to get to meet more people. Um, I've been, just trying to network more and, get to know more people like with podcasts and promoting my book. And so it's been great. Busy start to the summer. And yeah, how about you?
Yeah, busy times. Busy times. Well, yeah. So since we last spoke, I left my 9 to 5. I am now a full-time coach. So I'm really excited for that. I decided after 25 years of corporate banking was enough. so so yeah, I decided to take the leap of faith, and now I'm coaching full time in performance and mindset transformation.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think this kind of subject kind of brought us together a little bit, didn't it, back when we first got talking? Because I think I spotted what you were up to in the mental health and well-being space, um, because that was kind of how I kind of got into what I do a few years back, and I think we certainly connected back then, because of that, I think. And I think just the planets kind of aligned, didn't they? And we just thought, well, let's just have a chat and see where it goes. So I think
Yeah.
we're doing the same again today, which is brilliant, to be able to do this.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the best part, when you meet someone and
yeah,
you just like click and you have the same, goals, you have the same things that you can kind of, match up on and
yeah,
yeah, help each other that
exactly.
way too. Hmm.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I always think, even though I'm now a full-time coach, I'm still absolutely learning. I'm learning everything. I'm
Me
learning
too.
something new every day. Even the best coaches do that. I think you always have to have that mindset of, every day is a school day almost. Um,
Yeah.
and, it's an old saying, but, a coach needs a coach just like a doctor needs a doctor, right? So I always
Yeah.
use that, and I think it's a commonly used phrase, but it's still absolutely true. So
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've got 2 coaches myself. I'm still learning loads of different things, new methods, because it's always changing. The industry is changing all the time. So what
Hmm.
worked 2 years ago probably doesn't work as well anymore, because it gets saturated, or it's not as impactful.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
the new methods are evolving all the time, aren't they?
And while you like you said you made a big change from, your corporate life and, now you're working from home, I'm assuming, and, for the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah, so that's a big change in itself.
Mm,
So then, I have coaches too that I work with,
that's
business
good.
coaches, and you need someone who's kind of been through there, is a few steps ahead of you at least, to know
Yeah.
ways to point you in the right direction or um but
Yeah.
and you're so right, like there is so much that's coming up now, like especially with AI, like that's a little bit,
Yeah.
you know a little nerve wracking for me, but I'm not like super techie. I don't, I well, see, I'm outside. This is kind of my vibe. Like I like to be,
Yeah.
more natural, and so AI is going to be a big shift for sure.
Yeah, it will. I mean, my background, so although I was in corporate banking, my background is in change management. So it's working with IT and tech. So whilst
Yeah,
AI is very new, I kind of I get it, you know, I understand it.
yeah,
It's quite scary. I think the capability is quite scary, but also, you know, if it's used in the right way, then of course we've got big opportunities to use it to our advantages as coaches. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and it's evolving daily. That's how it seems at the moment. And you know, part of what I'm learning is that too, to use that tech advancements to your advantage. You know, I think people would be foolish not to. You know, because I think people will
yeah,
get left behind if they don't. And I think that's always, again, you have to have that kind of open mind, don't you? Into if something feels a bit uncomfortable, but it sounds like it's going to be good, then take the plunge and see, you know, find out more, and then have that almost have that opinion when you know about it, rather than have an opinion before you actually know about something.
yeah.
Um, so
Well, that might
you
be
know,
really helpful for your coaching personally if you have that background with IT and everything. Like that might be a good, route for you.
mm,
To also to teach that to coaches like myself who, don't really have, yeah, like a background like that. Like I have a communication background, but it's like I was coming in like when there was just apps starting, and
yeah,
like
okay,
social
yeah,
media was just starting. And it's like, yeah, so I mean, we've caught up to that, but yeah, it's like it's gonna be another like big leap, right?
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And that is something that I'm working on at the moment, because whilst I have a coach, I also have kind of a business partner, which he's more the strategy side of things. So I obviously learn the strategy from him, and we have regular catch ups and kind of almost test and learn. You know, we try things for 30 days, and you know, if it's successful, then brilliant. Why change what's something that's working? But also, you know, we change, we adapt, we evolve, and part of what we do is the automation of AI, you know, chatbots almost.
mhm,
I'm very apprehensive of chatbots, because you can recognize whether it's a human or not.
yeah.
So I
It
am
doesn't
kind of
seem authentic for like,
no,
especially in coaching. Like I want to be
yeah,
talking to a person. I don't,
yeah, I
yeah.
totally
So,
agree. I totally agree, and I'm all about the nurture and the actual emotional connection with someone. And
yeah,
if you're sending out, you know, the same message to 30 people every day, that doesn't feel right to me. So there's a
no.
lot of work to do. There's a lot of things that, you know, we need to investigate before we implement anything like that. But
Yeah. Same
certainly,
with same with sales, like people who do that for sales,
yeah,
like um yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm maybe a little more old fashioned. Like I
mm,
don't know if that part of me will change as far as like, like I want to know like who I'm buying from, I trust and you
yeah,
know and so yeah, as coaches too, that's important for us, as because yeah, we're working with people with like real, life issues and
yeah,
so for them to understand that from us too, that we're not
yeah.
trying to just sell to them or
I totally agree.
that's yeah,
I think, yeah, going into sell, I think is the wrong mindset, isn't it? You know, if you're going into actually offer help and value to someone
yeah,
who happens to be interested in what you do, and then they end up buying from you, then that's different. And I
yeah,
think that the word that myself and my coach, or my business partner, use often is intimacy. You know,
mhm,
we absolutely, the fundamental thing in conversation is intimacy and having that human connection. So again, you know, we're looking at what AI can do, but at the same time, we don't want to just exchange that intimacy to AI, because I think that uh, the way I know it at the moment would be wrong personally. Um,
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah,
I totally agree. The human connection is everything when we're trying to connect with people to help them.
mhm,
So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about your book. Your book, it's been published, hasn't it? It's been published for a while now, has it? Is it a few months?
Yeah. So I published it last October.
October, okay.
So yeah, during Mental Illness Awareness Week. So it's been almost 8 months about. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So yeah. So it's still newish, and it's my first book as well. So there's learning in that. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, it's been good and good response, especially locally where I'm from. I have a lot of support like with the community, and
yeah,
so it's
that's
nice
good.
to see it like in the places where I used to shop for books.
Yeah, of
My
course.
books are, and it's in the library, which I think is kind of cool. Yeah, so there's lots of places where people can find it, and yeah, and I'm getting good response of people saying how it's helped them, and yeah.
That's really good. That's really good. You must be so proud that you've, achieved that. That must be a really high sense of achievement by doing that and seeing your books on a shelf. That's mad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I really believe in goal setting and, the visualization of it, because it's actually been like a goal of mine since I was in high school. I wrote out like a
Okay.
list of goals that I wanted to achieve, and the second one I think was write a novel.
Okay.
So it's something, when you put your mind to doing something, and it can really come true for you. So I
Mm.
really, encourage that for people to, really think about that seriously, because yeah, it can happen.
That's Yeah,
Yeah,
I totally agree. I totally agree. Especially so you mentioned that um, it was a goal or dream of yours back in high school, did you say, where or at school?
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's really important at that age to have something to aim for, have something, there's nothing wrong with having dreams that scare you, that you really think, oh, that is impossible. Well, is it? You know, if you really
Hmm.
want it and you find the right way to do it and the right help to get there, you will
Yeah.
achieve it, and
Well,
it's having that attitude towards that, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. So I went back to my high school and I spoke to grade 10 classes, career classes there. And, I shared something with them, just, because we are going to fail in life too. Like it's not going to
Mm.
necessarily always be easy, because I actually failed an English course when I was in high school.
Okay.
So, going from like failing English to becoming an author, I think I just couldn't get my homework done. Maybe that was the issue back then.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so, you know, anything's possible. You just really got to want it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think what I find as well helps is the right people, the right support network,
Yeah.
because I'm sure you may have experienced this as well, but if you've got people in your life that are just negative all the time, or they only see the negative in what you're trying to achieve,
Hmm.
you need to be very careful, don't you, not to let them win almost, because you know
Yeah.
if you've got that permanent negativity on your shoulder, you're gonna end up listening to it, and then you'll
Hmm.
just revert back into your own comfort zone, and you'll end up achieving nothing, and then always wondering what if. So
Yeah.
I always think a strong support network, a strong group of people, um, and I'm not saying don't be challenged. I'm not saying have yes men or yes women around you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying have the right people to ask the right questions to make sure that you've got the right challenge, because that will then draw out more from you. It will make you step up. It will make you want to achieve even more. So I'm a big believer in that. And again, the old saying, if you're the average of the five people you spend the most time with, you know, be absolutely careful who you spend that time with, because if it's negative people, you will become one of them. So,
Hmm.
um, Yeah, I'm a big believer in
Yeah.
that for sure.
Well, yeah, I've experienced that too. With just even like past relationships and
Mm.
um, yeah, I actually, well, while I was writing my book towards the end, I was actually going through a breakup. Um,
Okay.
and that's, part of that reason is because I was, I was growing and I was, wanting to, yeah, going on a different path with my life.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes people that can be scared of that for us,
Yeah.
and maybe we won't be able to achieve what we want to achieve. Um, yeah, so yeah, we do have to choose wisely, and make sure that those who are around us definitely do have our backs, especially
Mm.
in the good times and the bad times.
Yeah. Absolutely. They do try and hold you back. I guess where they see comfort is, I'm kind of generalizing here, but I guess you'll get what I mean, is that they don't always want people to succeed, dare I say. They prefer
Yeah.
the version of you that they know. And if they see someone changing or improving, it makes them feel sometimes inadequate. It makes them feel like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'd
Yeah.
rather bring that person down rather than improve myself. And I've seen that
Yeah.
a lot, as well. I've had, friends in the past, but we kind of grew apart. And, you can have people saying, Pete, you've changed. Pam, you've changed. And the answer to that is, well, I'm meant to. That's growth.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
is growth. And I'm proud of that, that I've changed, adapted, overcome fears, you know, challenged things head on, and I'm sure you've done the same as well. And I'm not saying it's been always that. Of course it's not. We've failed, but I think learning through failure is good.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that's why, I'm not, I used to be maybe ashamed, like those are things I wouldn't want to talk about, like the
mm,
difficult things. I would, just kind of
yeah,
try to skirt past them a little bit more. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, that is where you find the growth is, when you can, um, yeah, you can look into those things. You can go deeper with them. You can understand like the why behind it and why it happened. Um, yeah, and like for me, like I used to be a very big people pleaser. Like I wanted to, just make sure everyone else was okay before I would
mm,
do something. And that's, like so I said it, my goal was in high school, so I'm 38 now. So, like it took, from having so many years in between to be able to do that, right? So,
mm,
and so yeah, just it's going to take time. Sometimes you're going to have to change yourself before you can see different results.
mm.
um, and yeah, but keep
Yeah, I
keep
totally
growing.
agree.
And with friends, friendships, I've lost some friends as well. Just they weren't really understanding what I was going through at the time with like my mental health.
Mm,
And so just really encouraging people to just let it settle. And
mm.
'cause,
Yeah, I think with anything, you know, time is key. We have to allow things to happen, and sometimes, that growth journey, it can dip first before it gets better. Imagine a
yeah,
graph, and it will go down before it
yeah.
goes up, and that's normal.
Yeah. So that's like a quote I have in my book about like it's like a slingshot, like you'll get
Oh, I
torqued
love it.
back before you slingshot forward.
Brilliant.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
it,
That is so true. Yeah, that is so true. Um, so yeah, time is key to anything that you want to achieve, and you have to sometimes just trust the process and make
yeah,
sure that you have the milestones throughout, and you have the right people, and you celebrate wins. I've got it on my board behind me about reflection. You have to reflect on where you've come from and celebrate what
mhm,
wins you've had during that time. but also any failures that you might have had, you know, recognize those too, and make sure that you, right, okay, so I failed at that point, but did I really fail? You know, what did I learn from that failure? You know, so I'm a big believer in, you know, you only fail when you stop, when you give up. You know,
Yeah,
that is
exactly.
failure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we're
is
all gonna
failure
make
when
we're all
you give
gonna
up.
make mistakes, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's part of the journey, right?
yeah,
So,
for sure.
oh, hi.
One of the
Oh,
one of the things that,
my dad's going fishing with he's taking some of his friends out, so they're coming
okay,
by.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful for fishing there, I bet. It looks
Yeah,
so
it's
hot
gorgeous.
there.
I wonder if I can turn this around. Well, I could just turn myself around. So yeah, so the lake's
Oh,
right
wow.
there. Yeah.
Is this where you
So
live?
it's yeah, for now, this is where I live. Yeah.
Oh my
So this is
goodness, that
actually
looks
this is
amazing.
my hometown. So it's Red Lake, Ontario.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is
So
incredible. And that is
yeah,
huge. Is that a
it's a
lake?
big lake. Yeah.
It looks like the sea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lake. Yeah, it's
Oh, wow.
it is quite large. Yeah, there's lots of different like arms of it that go out. So yeah, you could be
Okay.
on there all day.
And is that where he's going fishing now? Is he going in
Yeah.
that lake somewhere?
Yeah. Yeah, he's taking his friend and a couple of their kids.
Amazing. I hope
Yeah.
he catches lots of fish.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, fab. No, that's brilliant. But yeah, I mean, going back to that, I always say, and one of my favorite quotes, I don't know whether I've made this up or I read it somewhere, so I can't take credit. I'm not sure if I can, but I always say that if you're not failing, you're not learning, and if you're not learning, you're not growing. So, you know, they go hand in hand. And again, if we look at the negative people that we just talked about that may be in your life, and you might not even know, you might not even realize, you know, that they are that kind of person. And sometimes those people are actually quite close to you.
Mhm.
You know, and
Well,
I,
funny enough that my dad walked by during that conversation because my dad and I have actually had to work on our relationship too.
okay.
Because he was also a little scared for me when I said I want to be an author. He was like, okay, but what are you gonna write about? Sometimes people worry about the how, and
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
So he
and
went
it's
full on protective mode, did
yeah,
he?
yeah, totally,
Yeah.
yeah.
And do you know, saying that though, I mean that kind of brings me on to another conversation, let's say. But you know, we're emotional creatures, aren't we? You know, the
Mm,
first instinct usually is to listen to your emotion, you know, that immediate fear, you know, protective state
mhm,
in any situation, I would imagine. But
yes,
if we've got a conscious awareness of the thought that we've had, and then consider the thought whether it's true or not. You know, don't we have like 60,000 thoughts a day or something stupid? I know it's a
yeah,
lot.
yeah,
Um, so, you know, we've got to, sometimes we just need to try and make a conscious effort, whether that thought that we've just had is true or not. Because
mhm,
that, you know, I've got it again on the board, which side? Think, believe, behave. You know,
mhm,
think. So your thought, you know, the instinct, that's what we do. We thinkers all the time. We have thoughts, but then decide whether to believe it or not. Because if you have negative thoughts, you still could believe that negative thought, and then you
mhm,
behave on the basis of that belief about the thought that you have. So, you know, some
yeah,
people might say, I feel a certain way. Well, you don't feel a certain way. You think a certain way to make you feel a certain way. You know, that is the
yeah,
difference. And I get
mhm,
people trying to be conscious about their thoughts and their beliefs and their actions, because that will
yeah,
then demonstrate what their next activity will be or could be.
yeah. I'm
I
just
mean,
gonna say, so my battery's running a little low. So if I lose you in the next minute or so, just
okay, no worries.
as a, um, but yeah, totally. Like I call them tornadoes because like your mind can like wreak havoc on, when you start going in like those negative spirals. And then
Mm,
you just like, and then sometimes it doesn't even have to be your thoughts. It can be other people's thoughts that come loop in. And then you're like, oh,
yeah,
well, they said this to me. And you start to believe it. So yeah, we really have to. That's why I like journaling or having something where you can, get those thoughts out or share them
yeah,
with somebody. So you can, yeah, it's
yeah.
important.
I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And journaling is a big one. I really do, try and promote that. Whether you're having, well, whatever thoughts that you're having, really. If you're trying to compute them all at the same time, that's when you can struggle with prioritization or to-do list or a get done list, as I call it.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's a really good point. A really good point.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, I think they're taking off now. Oh, do you hear a plane?
yeah. Are they flying out?
Yeah. Yeah, they fly out off of the water here. I don't know if they can catch
That's
it.
amazing.
I don't know if you can see it there or not.
Uh,
Not quite. It might be
no.
just out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
out
that's
of
so
view. But
cool.
yeah, they take off and they go to tourist camps.
Okay.
There's lots of tourist fishing and hunting camps around here. So
Wow. That's like a different world to me.
yeah,
Seriously.
yeah,
We've got nothing like that around here, really.
yeah. Oh, and so you're in UK?
Yeah, I'm in England. Yeah, right in the
Yeah,
centre.
in England. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful spot too, though. You got lots of history there, and
Oh yeah, we do have a lot of history. I'd have to travel a little bit to see some historic places, but again, there's a lot of countryside,
yeah,
probably on smaller scale than what you've just shown me, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of places to visit um,
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
I was in London once. Yeah, London, Paris. There was like a little loop that did around there. But
Mm,
yeah, like London, like you just get that different feel, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, lots of things have happened here. Like this is just like, yeah, and the
yeah,
London Tower and all of that is, yeah, really neat.
yeah, it's certainly got some history. And I think when you live somewhere, you sometimes you might overlook that because you're kind of used to it and you get used to, and that could actually link into mindset generally. You might just
Yeah,
get used to something, whereas someone has to remind you something how good you are at something,
yeah. Well,
because you
I
take it for
moved.
granted.
Yeah, I moved away from here for like 10 years. And,
Okay.
then when I came back, and then, then you see things in a different light too.
Mm,
Yeah, because, I wanted to be near the mountains or, um, yeah, so I ended up moving to British Columbia,
okay.
where now I'm in Ontario. But yeah, it's just, yeah, like to whatever surrounding you're in, just like taking like you said, like the positives from it and like, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I totally agree. So, what's your plans for this week? Do you have a schedule? What have you got on your calendar this week? That. Oh, sun. Okay, we'll pause it there. Battery's gone. I wonder if I can pause recording. I think I can.